A lot of you guys don't know this, but there is one thing in this whole world that I fear more than anything else, and it's something that you can't even see. Microbes. In terms of viruses and bacteria, they're terrifying. So if you guys have been paying attention to the news recently, there's been some pretty big news coming out of the Democratic Republic of Congo, located in Africa. Specifically, there's a group of people who have gotten ill, and a large portion of these people have passed away within just 48 hours.
After 3 children ate a bat and died within 48 hours.
I know that a lot of you guys are probably thinking we're about to have a COVID round 2, this time with a disease that's even more deadly than COVID, but fortunately we are not to that point yet. I'm going to give you guys some background as to exactly what we know. So, earlier this year in January, in a small town by the name of Boloko, 3 individuals, all under the age of 5, were consuming a bat carcass, and this is what's believed to be the starting point for this mystery disease. And really what's terrifying about this is that all 3 of these children ended up passing away from this disease shortly after consuming the carcass between the dates of January 10th to January 13th. Their symptoms were consistent with that of a hemorrhagic fever, basically vomiting, blood, and internal bleeding, so really not a great prognosis when you have these symptoms. Shortly after the initial 3 victims passed away, 4 more individuals aged 5 through 18 ended up passing away, and by January 27th, there were 10 total people in this small town of Boloko who had contracted it, with 7 of them passing away. The spread did not just stop here though, because 2 weeks later, the disease exited the town area of Boloko and entered a new one by the name of Bomate. By mid-February, there were hundreds of people who had contracted this disease and dozens of people who had passed away. And right now, you guys, just like me, probably think this situation is terrifying, and it definitely is for the individuals who live in close proximity to where this is going on. However, I do want to say the news tend to exaggerate a lot of this stuff with their headlines and make it seem as though we're heading towards another global pandemic. Right now, we simply do not know if that's the case. Now, as previously mentioned, the main symptom for this new disease here is a hemorrhagic fever, and it sounds very similar to Ebola or Marburg. If you guys are familiar with these, they are terrifying as well. There have been outbreaks in the past, and they have a very high mortality rate. Well, you might assume because the symptoms are the same between this mystery disease and Ebola that they might be the same, but unfortunately 18 samples were sent off to a lab and they were tested for Ebola and Marburg, and both of them came back negative. So right now, we really don't know what we're dealing with just yet. On top of this, the death rate for this disease is actually quite high, hovering around 12 to 13% right now. This might not seem like very much, but for reference, COVID had a 1% death rate, and a lot of people died from that. So imagine if this was on a global scale, it would be very bad. In closing remarks, guys, I do want to be clear, my goal is not to give you guys a panic attack and make you think like we're about to enter another pandemic. Researchers here think that we probably already know what the cause for this illness is. We just haven't tied it back yet to the bug that it necessarily is. Usually that's the case in these types of situations. Either way, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Drop a comment letting me know what you want to see next. I also do have my Patreon linked in the description down here if you guys want to support the channel and help it out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.